Hello, book lovers. Welcome to Must Love Books. Hello, and welcome back to Must Love Books podcast. Today, I am here with the New York Times bestselling author of The Hurricane Wars, Thea Guanzon. Hello, how are you?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor. You are actually my first podcast interview of 2024. So, yeah,
Yay!
I'm really excited.
Well, I am so happy to have you on here. You're going to be one of my first few episodes that I'll have posted on this podcast. So I'm really excited to be here.
Oh, I hope you don't regret it. Let's see what happens.
Oh, I love that. That's great. So, I'm sure most of the people listening have heard of the Hurricane Wars already. You just released it in October 2023, and it's already become internationally beloved. And I personally am a huge fan of this story myself.
Oh, thank you so much. I wasn't like it's been amazing, honestly. I wasn't expecting such a reaction to it because I think there was a part of me that felt that people might have a hard time relating to the book, relating to the characters, to the world, because it's very Southeast Asian in nature and in tone. So I have never been happier to be proven wrong in my entire life. It's just
I
been so great.
am also happy that you were proven wrong in this instance. This book was amazing. Taliesin is such a great character. I love how strong she is and yet willing to open herself up and learn. And even though she is stubborn and strong-headed and a little bit obstinate, she is also equally willing to open herself up to new experiences, with a little bit of a push needed every now and then, but she really does open up and allow, a whole new world and a whole new lifestyle for herself, just because she thinks it's the right thing to do.
Yes, I really enjoyed tracking her character growth throughout the first book, and I hope that readers will enjoy what I have planned for her in the second book, which I am actually in edits now for. So
Ooh,
it's been fun
edits.
as well. There yeah, there have been times when um talents and stubbornness in both this draft for the second book and in the first book, like I would sometimes be like really shaking my head at how stubborn she was. But I think that's part of what makes her such a great character. Like, she has principles, she sticks to them, but she also, like, it's not like her mind is completely closed off. Like, she's willing to learn, she's willing to grow as a person, she's willing to change.
Absolutely. So why don't you tell us a little bit about, now I'm already a little familiar with the history of this novel and where it came from, but I would like for you to tell us, how Hurricane Wars came to be.
So the Hurricane Wars is basically my take on enemies to lovers, which is my favorite trope of all time. I think it is just the best dynamic ever, and I have always been a huge fan of it. And so I just really wanted to share my own interpretation of it with the world. And I based the world of the Hurricane Wars in Southeast Asian culture, particularly Filipino culture, because it is where I grew up, it is where I still live now, and I am very, very proud of my culture, and I am proud to be a part of it. And so, yeah, this basically just me shoving Southeast Asian culture down everyone's throats, and I can't believe they let me get away with it.
Well, I couldn't be happier
And
that they did.
and the weapons of mass destruction in this story are storm ships, basically, which are airships that make use of weather as a tool to oppress and as a tool to destroy. And that really spoke to me as a Filipino living in the Philippines, because we get like over 100 typhoons every year. They just sweep through here, and they always cause such damage. And it's a fact of life for us Filipinos. At the same time, it's also an ongoing nationwide conversation on how best to sort of like mitigate their effects. So I wanted to write a story about people working together to stop the hurricanes, people helping one another in the aftermath of disasters.
I love that. That's such a beautiful message and such an intriguing way to turn that into a fantasy world.
Yeah, I was so actually the very first draft of the Hurricane Wars, it was set in this sort of like generic European style fantasy world. And I'm not saying that European fantasy is generic. It's just it felt generic to me because I had no personal connection to it. I was just copying what I read in other fantasy novels because that was what I thought fantasy should be. And then so it was bad. And my my agent was actually the one who suggested like, hey, why don't you make this about Southeast Asian culture? Why don't you infuse a Filipino twist into the world building and the lore? And at first I was like, oh wow, I didn't know I could do that. But when I started writing from my experience as a Filipino, when I started writing from, I guess, my heart, that was when the story really took off.
Yeah, I think that was the best absolute decision. I mean, obviously, everyone loves a good enemies to lovers tale. Entwining the Filipino culture into it really set this story apart from so many others because, as you said, European fantasy is the baseline on where most fantasy novels exist today. It is the most commonly seen, it is basically dominating the fantasy genre. So having something like the Hurricane Wars completely disregard that, throw the European fantasy out the window and bring us a whole new style of fantasy that I'm sure many readers, American readers, haven't really had the opportunity or know where to look to find these kind of stories. So it really broadened a lot of horizons, and I think it's opening a lot of doors to new styles of fantasies for readers across the board.
Thank you. That is my hope as well. And I also want to add that a lot of Filipino readers have been messaging me ever since the Hurricane Wars came out, and not only the fantasy aspect of it, but the romance aspect as well. Uh, a common theme that I'm hearing from people's messages is that they're so glad to see themselves represented as like the main character in a romance, and someone who looks like them being desirable, being the object of like the bad boys' affections. And I think that that was something that I had not really considered because I have lived in the Philippines all my life. So I'm probably not the best person to speak on issues of representation because I'm used to being represented. I I consume local media. I'm surrounded by local media. So for me, it wasn't really like on the forefront of my mind as an issue. But then the Hurricane Wars came out. The Filipino diaspora started telling me about how wonderful it was to be able to see themselves in Taliesin, to be able to read about someone very reluctantly falling in love with her, and her being the subject of so many romanticism tropes. And I think it's great. It's really opened my eyes to to the issue of representation in media, and that's probably something I'll always advocate for moving forward.
I would agree that the Hurricane Wars is a perfect example of why representation matters. And it shows us that diverse stories have a huge role to play in changing the reading landscape. You know, we don't need to be reading the same stories over and over again. I mean, there's nothing wrong with reading what you like, of course, but we absolutely have this opportunity to expand what we read, and we should seek out diverse stories, and we should fight for equal representation across a diverse world of cultures, instead of sticking with the same old, same old.
If there's anything that I hope that people can take away from the hurricane wars, I hope that people will be encouraged to seek out more Southeast Asian stories because my book barely scratches the surface. There's already so many great Southeast Asian books out there, and yeah, I hope that people can be motivated to seek them out.
If anything, this has shown us that, as you said, this is just scratching the surface. There is so much more that we can uncover as readers from the outside, from the inside, so much more that we can look at. And I'm sure that there are many more beautiful tales to find.
Yes, for sure.
I'm sure there's not much that you can release yet at this time, but what are you able to tell us about the sequel to the Hurricane Wars?
Oh my God. Okay, as of the time of recording this podcast, we don't even have a final title for it yet.
Well, I
Like
saw your
it's
post on
I think
Instagram, Two Hurricanes, Two Wars, as the working title, and I thought that was so funny, and I totally relate. Working on a title is honestly one of the hardest parts of writing a story.
it really is. My editor and I, we just have this Google Doc full of it's probably like in the hundreds now, like hundreds of title suggestions. And we still haven't settled on one, and it's supposed to go into copy edits in a couple of weeks. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure how we're going to handle that. But what I think that what I can share about the sequel, about Two Hurricanes, Two Wars, is that uh in it, Alaric and Taliesin reluctantly continue to grow closer and to discover more aspects of their magic, even as the web of political machinations and intrigue sort of starts closing in around them. And then they eventually learn that perhaps the only way forward is to start to trust each other. And so I'm very excited for it.
It sounds like, trusting each other should be the simplest way to move forward in such a political atmosphere, such as the Hurricane Wars. But for enemies to lovers, trusting each other is the absolute hardest thing that you could get those two characters to do.
Yeah, I think because when it comes to enemies to lovers, it's like it's two people who are working from such diametrically opposite belief systems. So it's always hard to get them to reconcile that with their growing feelings for each other. But I think that's where the fun of writing enemies to lovers starts.
And I love how we get both sides of the story. We get both points of views, and we see why each character thinks they are just so heartily in the right and are barely able to even consider the possibility that, there could be another perspective. So they're both extremely strong-willed. They are evenly matched in how stubborn they are. And I
Yes,
love being
exactly.
able to go back and forth and just see why they think they are right and how right they think they each are, to the point where they're not even willing to consider each other's perspectives, even as they're navigating their little hate love relationship.
Okay, in their defense, they do start to make more progress in that aspect. In book two, like as they deal with the aftermath of their wedding night, that night, they very slowly start to edge towards trusting each other. I don't know what to say because I don't want to suddenly like give
Exactly.
out
We won't give
spoilers.
anything away. Yeah, we won't do any major spoilers,
So hard.
just the themes that, we expect to see in a secondary enemies to lovers novel.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't want to like Tom Holland this book. Harper Collins will probably send snipers outside my window.
Yeah, I wonder if they're as tough as the Disney ones are. So at this time, does your team have any kind of estimate on a release, a goal that they would like it out? Do you think we will see it in 2024?
Yes, it's tentatively scheduled for release October 2024.
Oh, that would be
Let's cross
incredible.
our fingers.
I'm crossing all of my fingers, crossing my toes.
I just need to get through the second draft first. It's actually been such a funny process because most of the revision aspect of it has been my editor sending me essay length comments on how it's time for the smut.
You know what? I I love your editor already.
I swear that was the bulk of her edit notes. She was telling me like, okay, we need Thea, it's time. Like, let's finally make them bang. And I was like, oh my god, my family will read this, but let's go. Let's go for it.
Let's go. I love that so much. Thank you so much for sharing what you could about Two Hurricanes, Two Wars.
You know what? Like, if if the team does not if the team does not is not on board with any of my recent suggestions, I'm going to put my foot down and say, okay, let's make it Two Hurricanes, Two Wars. No more arguing.
Right? Like you have to pick something or this is going to be it. So let's go ahead and shift gears a little bit. You spend a lot of time writing and working on this. What do you do when you are not writing? What are you currently reading right now?
I am not allowed to read anything until I finish my draft.
Oh no. Oh
So I
no.
so I have a lot of writing projects lined up for this year. Of course, there's the book two edits that I'm working on right now, and then I have to submit the first draft of book three. And then there is a new series that I'm kind of like in the beginning stages of writing as well. And then there's a kind of secret project that I recently said yes to, and I'm very excited to share it with the world once they let me. So it's a lot of writing, and like I miss reading, but I have read some books that I got blurb requests for, and those have been amazing. But I do not see a lot of reading in my future
Oh
until I can get
no.
a handle on these drafts. But as for the books that I have read, there was this January I read The Crimson Moth, which I think is being released as Heartless Hunter in the US. And
Oh,
then
okay.
Crimson Moth is the UK title. It's amazing. It's a romance. It's an enemies to lovers romance between a witch and a witch hunter.
Oh, okay. I'm already sold.
Yeah, exactly. And then after that I read Saints of Storm and Sorrow by Gabriela Buba, who is also a Filipino author, and it's amazing as well. Like it made me cry. Like I was a bit slow in reading it because every page was making me cry.
Oh.
Yeah, it's fantasy as well, but it's it's more rooted in Philippine history. So it's very anti-colonial, it's very raw, it's very revolutionary. I really enjoyed it. And finally, there's Voyage of the Damned by Frances White, which was just recently released. It was incredible. Like it changed my life. I definitely recommend it to everyone. It's so quirky, it's so fun, and the main character, the POV character, he's just the best. Like he's my son. I would take a bullet for it.
Oh. I love that so much. I am already like growing my TBR list right here, right now.
Yeah, I think 2024 is going to be such a great year for fantasy. I actually have a lot more books to read on my blurb request pile, but I do post about them on Twitter and Thread. So yeah.
That is amazing. And we will definitely post links to those social media pages of yours so that anyone who wants to check out these blurbs, they absolutely can.
I mean, my social media is like, I don't think I'm using social media correctly as an author. Because I don't know, it's just me complaining about my cats all the time. But they're
You know what? I feel that might be the absolute correct way.
but there's book stuff in there from time to time.
Yeah, that sounds like the absolute correct way to be doing it. Okay, so we are going to play a little bit of a game. I'm sure you might have seen it before on Bookstagram. It's called This or That.
Oh
And
no.
I'm just going to give you a couple of options and you
Okay.
just let me know like which you prefer. So I'll start easy. Do you prefer physical book, ebook, or audiobook?
Physical book. I love feeling it in my head.
And do you prefer paperback or hardcover?
Wait, that's so hard. uh, okay, honestly, like, so my zodiac sign is Libra, so I am very bad at making decisions on the spot. I think I prefer hardbound. Yeah, I like them thick and chunky.
Thick and chunky. Love that. My favorite style of book as well. Do you prefer to read multiple different books at once, or do you finish one at a time before moving on?
Oh my God, definitely one at a time. I cannot even like I cannot fathom those people who read multiple books at a time. I can't. I just can't. I
Okay,
think those people have superpowers.
honestly, yes, or ADHD, and they have to keep switching. That one's me. That one's me. Can't focus long enough, gotta switch and then go back. Okay, when you're reading, what is your favorite iced or hot drink to accompany you?
Iced coffee. I live on iced coffee, definitely.
Same. It's one of the most important food groups, isn't it?
I know. I think it's honestly so bad right now. Like if I don't drink coffee, I get a headache.
Yeah, well, there's not enough, caffeine in your system.
I know. I need it.
It's our life force. Do you prefer to read in silence or have some background noise?
Definitely read in silence. I cannot with those people who say that they can read with music in the background. I like it's so I don't know. I think it's me. I think I just don't know how to multitask. Like for example, when I'm talking to someone on the phone and then I have to do something on my computer, I can't like I always mess up.
Yeah, it's either we can talk or I can focus on the computer. It's not both.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, I love that so much. Okay, and for one final question for our this or that, do you prefer to read the book before the movie or after the movie when there's an adaptation?
So I don't know if this is controversial or not, but I do not like, for example, after I read a book, I'm not really in a hurry to seek out like the movie adaptation if there is one, because I think part of me is always like, oh, this movie can never be as good as it is in my head. Like, you know what I mean? If I love a book that much. So I don't think that there's been a book that I don't think there's been a movie that was based on a book that I've actively sought out the book after watching the movie. But so I only ever read the book and then like if the opportunity comes up, I'll watch the movie, but I don't necessarily go out of my way to watch it. That was a very roundabout way of not answering your question at all.
But you know what? I think it made perfect sense. You don't want that mental image of the story tarnished.
No, but I have heard that the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes movie is amazing. So I will
I
definitely
just watched it and honestly, I was very impressed. I did enjoy it. There were all of the major things are there, but I
hmm
have heard that there is that they cut like an hour of footage
Oh
from it after the
wow.
test audience. So the
hmm
theatrical release has an hour less footage, and I really want them to release an extended edition with that extra hour. I need to know
Yes, you should start
what
a
was in it.
petition.
Yes, give us more. I would absolutely watch a 3 or 4 hour version of that movie.
Yeah. Oh my God, wait, no. Speaking of movies adapted from books, I have just remembered there was this one movie based on a book that I really love. If I Stay. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yeah, I have heard of those. I haven't, read the book yet, but I've seen the movie.
I loved the book so much. Like it was one of the first young adult books I ever read, and it was just my entire personality for years. And then the movie came out, and my younger sister and I watched the movie like 7 times in the cinema. We were obsessed.
So do you think it was, like, a good adaptation from the story?
Absolutely, yes, yes. I think, yeah, it definitely softened my stance of like the movie can never be as good as the book. Oh my God, the book was I just had a fangirl moment, but like it's one of my If I Stay is one of my favorite books ever.
How about you tell us about some of your other favorite books?
Okay, so I think when it comes to classic fantasy, my favorite author is probably Ursula K. Le Guin. She wrote The Earthsea Cycle, The Left Hand of
Mm,
Darkness. She's just such, I think she was just a trailblazer for her time, and she was so inventive with her story structures, with her plots, with her characters. Like she was not afraid to break ground in speculative fiction, and that's why she will always remain one of my idols to this day. And then I really love the Discworld series by Terry Pratchett.
mhm.
I think this was a series that showed me like a new way of looking at fantasy in the sense that it can be funny. Like it's okay to poke fun at fantasy tropes. It's okay to poke fun at a lot of the stereotypes and archetypes in the fantasy realm, but and it's okay to have like these very very outlandish plots, but um y- it this world showed me that like a good book can have all of that, but it's always important that it still has heart, that it focuses on like the human aspect of fantasy. And like I love the Discworld series. Like it's my go-to series. And what else do I like? There's Wicked by Gregory Maguire.
Oh, that's a
I
good
don't
one.
know if I recently watched the musical on West End, and I started crying like 5 minutes in.
Oh, it is so well done. I saw the musical, in Chicago in high school,
Hmm.
actually, many years ago. And it was so beautiful. That is a show that I would watch again and again and again. And the book is great. I love the book. And there is actually, have you heard about the movie?
I think all I know is that Ariana Grande is gonna play Galinda. So
Yep.
I'm intrigued by that. I'm looking forward to seeing her take. I know that she has an amazing voice, so she can probably do it. But yeah, we will see.
Yeah, and she has training in theater as well. Like, I
Yes,
believe she was on Broadway when she was younger, and so I think that she can pull it off, and we're just used to only seeing one type of Ariana Grande music, and I think
yes,
she has the
exactly.
range. I think she's got the range.
I think she's one of the best singers working today. So I'm excited for that. And I will say that in the Wicked book, I think what I really fell in love with was Gregory Maguire's prose. It's just so atmospheric. Like the descriptions are very lush, and then the world building is so inventive as well. So that's what I also try to sort of emulate in my writings. And I also have to admit that I am a very big Glinda Elfie shipper. Like those girls just really tug at my heartstrings.
Absolutely.
I am also a huge fan of Amy Tan. Her She writes a lot of contemporary novels tackling Asian American communities and the Asian diaspora, particularly the Chinese diaspora. And there's a lot of mother-daughter relationships woven into her novels. And I just learned so much from her. So I have Chinese heritage as well, and her books were probably the first books I ever read in English that had like Chinese representation, Asian representation. It was probably the first books I ever read where like I recognize the culture, I recognize the superstitions, and I recognize just like the dynamic, like the attitude of an Asian family. So yeah, those were very formative books. Especially The Bone Setter's Daughter, which I think is probably her best novel.
I have that one sitting on my shelf and I cannot wait to get to it. I've got like I have a stack. I have stacks everywhere. Let's be honest, there's book stacks all over the place.
When you read The Bone Setter's Daughter, it's probably for the best to be armed with tissues because I think I went through a whole pack of tissues while I was reading that book.
I will note that down. Pack of tissues, a whole box. I'll just bring a whole box and I'll sit in my comfy chair with the book and I will put on Do Not Disturb and allow
Yes.
myself to feel all the feels. Well, thank you for so many incredible recommendations for me and for our listeners to check out.
Oh, thanks. I hope that you like them. And you have to tell me when you start reading Bone Setter's Daughter so we
Oh,
can cry
I
about it
absolutely
together.
will. I will for sure. Immediately. I will live message you all my thoughts.
Yes, please.
So we've talked about so many awesome things today. We've gone over the hurricane wars, we've gone over the possibilities for two hurricanes, two wars. We heard about some secret projects coming up, which I'm so excited to hear more about. I cannot wait until you
I'm
can
literal
release.
I cannot wait to I just want to shout to the world about it, but I think like they would hunt me down and put snipers outside my window.
Exactly, but I so understand that feeling too. You're so excited and you're ready to just shout it from the rooftops. So once you are ready to shout, I'll be here listening. I love that so much. Well, so we are starting to wrap up on time here, unfortunately. This has been
Oh,
so great. Thank you so much for joining us today.
thank you. I really enjoyed. This was my first podcast interview of 2024, and it was amazing. I could not have asked for a better host. So
Thank
thank you
you.
very much.
Thank you so much. Do you have any final messages you'd like to share with us today?
Well, now I'm on the spot again. It's 1:40 it's 1:40 a.m. in Manila. So the brain is not working, but basically I think I want to say that for those who have read The Hurricane Wars, thank you so much for giving it a shot. And for those who want to read it, I hope that you enjoy it as well. And I hope that what people can take away from this book is that it's okay for us human beings to be messy, to have wild hearts, even to fall in love with the enemy, because that combination of chaos and all those flaws, it is what makes us human.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again so much. And thank you, everyone, for listening. This has been Must Love Books. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. This has been Must Love Books. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Patreon under @Must Love Books Podcast. Thank you and happy reading.